Counted and a foul.
Welcome to Inside Marquette Basketball. I'm Sophia Minert, joined by Marquette men's basketball head coach Shaka Smart. We're here at the Al McGuire Center, and Coach, last night a big overtime win for your team over Providence. So many great performances, but we've got to start with your freshman, Nigel James Jr. He had his hands all over that game last night in the big overtime win, the free throws to send it to overtime. What can you say just about the performance that he put together, 38 points?
Well, he showed a lot of poise throughout the game, played all but 3 minutes. When you're asked to play that much, you certainly have to play through fatigue and through different challenges that come up throughout the game. I thought he did a really good job managing the game for us. Just makes poised plays when you need it most. We had that lead at halftime, 10 points. It quickly evaporated. Providence was making shots, making plays. They're the top scoring team in the league, so you knew they were going to, make a run. But I thought he led our resilience coming back, and then can't say enough about the play that allowed us to force overtime. Great steal by Demarius, presence of mind to go steal the ball, found Royce. Royce found NJ, who got fouled in the three, and then you could see when he got fouled, he was determined he was going to make those free throws.
Well, and you praised his poise in that situation because those are situations you can practice, but really hard to mimic, right? Game on the line, having to hit 3 free throws as a freshman to send your game into overtime, and then the timeout. In that timeout, Coach, do you say anything to him? Do you leave him alone? What was your level of confidence in NJ in that spot?
Very high. And in fact, Sophia, we just talked about what we were going to do after he made the free throw. So we didn't even really bring up the potential or possibility of him missing because we believe in him. We've obviously put the ball in his hands from very early on this season. Our guys really believe in him. Our staff believes in him. Going all the way back through the recruiting process, this was a guy that we identified early on as someone that could come in here and be a great point guard at Marquette. But NJ's really, he's been receptive to coaching. He's been a really good teammate, spending time with his teammates. He's been focused on winning, which has been, for all the guys that are really focused on winning, it's been hard, when we don't win as many games as we want to. But he's not allowed his spirit to drop, which says a lot about his character.
Well, and he's already starting to make some Marquette history. 38 points is the most by a Marquette freshman since Marcus Howard. That's pretty good company to be in. The 8 assists, just 1 turnover. I know that stood out to you as well. And Coach, you're talking about the impact you thought he could have. Has this exceeded your expectations for a freshman?
Well, certainly he's exceeded it from a statistical standpoint and also, kind of where he is relative to our team. It's been, I don't know how long it's been since, I've coached a team going back to Texas where, a freshman is your, as we say, top cup guy, your most dominant guy. And he's been that really over the last 6-8 games for us, and it's pretty clear that that's not going anywhere. I think what's been, surprising is, we felt like coming into this season, some of our older guys would be in a position where they were just more experienced and were further ahead. But, his poise and his, just composure, confidence out there on the floor has been, honestly different than anyone on our team.
Well, and defensively, some guys stepped up as well. You mentioned the play by Demarius to set up that play for NJ. And Chase Ross had his hands all over the game defensively as well, 7 steals. And that was kind of a point of emphasis for your team. You had 16 steals, 27 points off of turnovers. Did you like the commitment defensively in the game against Providence?
Well, yes and no. I mean, we did a great job getting our hands on the basketball in the first half. I believe we had 24, 26 deflections in the first half alone. Chase was all over the place. Adrian Stevens got his hands on the basketball a lot as well. So those plays were really key to us building a lead at halftime. At the same time, we have to make the opponent miss better. We have to rebound the ball better when we do make them miss. Providence came in as the top scoring team in the Big East, so we knew that they had a lot of weapons. and we knew that was going to be easier said than done. So I think in terms of our activity, getting our hands on the basketball, certainly the play that forced overtime, we would not have been even close to being in position to win without those type of plays. But there's so much low-hanging fruit for us to keep getting better, keep learning how to defeat screens better, keep getting better with our communication. We have a lot of young guys out there. There's some lineups we're playing with 2 sophomores, 2 freshmen, and Chase. That might be our best lineup right now. But we just got to keep working and keep getting better.
And Chase Ross against St. John's reached that 1,000 points milestone with the 7 steals last night. He's now closing in on 200 career steals. Those are big numbers, 1,000 points, 200 steals. For Chase to be acknowledged before the game as well in front of the home fans, it's just a testament to what he's accomplished here.
Well, when he hit the 1,000 points against St. John's in our next film session in here, we acknowledged it in front of the team. I think it's really important to celebrate those type of milestones internally as well as at the game in front of our fans. And what I did was we showed his 1,000th point, but then we also showed some of the really, really important, impactful baskets that he made en route to 1,000. He made a 3 in a crucial moment as a freshman in the Big East semifinals against UConn in the Garden in the right corner. That was huge to us winning the game.
Coach, some other standout performances. Royce Parham contributing 18, Demarius Owens 12 points off of the bench. You talked a little bit about the lineups. There's a lot of youth in there. How are you seeing those guys step up?
Well, those 2 guys are obviously in their 2nd year playing, and as I always tell guys coming into sophomore year, it's a tricky year. You come off your freshman year, particularly in Royce's case, he was on an all-freshman team. Even in Demarius's case, he had some good moments as a freshman. You have an off season under your belt after your freshman season, and you kind of feel like, okay, I'm ready to just take off. And sometimes they do, but more often than not, the first half of your sophomore year is filled with some ups and downs. And, you're not a freshman anymore, but you're still on a relatively young end of being a basketball player, and especially in today's day and age of college basketball with 23, 24, 25, 26-year-olds out there playing. Royce Parham's 19 years old. But the positive of that sophomore, kind of phenomenon is second half of your sophomore year, as long as you stay with the work, you stay with the commitment to teammates, you stay with the receptivity to coaching, and your high character like those 2 guys are, then inevitably you're going to start taking jumps and your consistency is going to go up. And that's what we're seeing with Royce. He's scoring the ball at a much more consistent rate over the last 6, 8 games. He's really established himself now as, a guy that's, at least in our top 2 or 3 options offensively at any given time on the floor. And then Demarius, the last 3 games, has scored in double figures, which is great. And if you look at the correlation between his minutes and his productivity, they're strongly correlated. And so there's an old saying, Sophia, players say, hey, play me and I'll show you. And coaches say, show me and I'll play you. And the good thing about Demarius is he's showing us and then he's getting more playing time. Or, he might look at it like, hey, I'm getting more time and it gives me a chance to go play well.
Shaka Smart's interview is presented by Wintrust, Wisconsin's bank, the official banking partner of Marquette University. Inside Marquette Basketball is brought to you by Aurora Healthcare, the healthcare choice of Marquette Athletics.
Oh, it was great. I was glad to be back home with family and just playing in front of my friends and family. So it was awesome, get a chance to play with Dwayne and Travis and those guys. It's pretty cool. Now I'm about to open a barber and beauty salon. So I'm super excited about that. The opening date is January 20th. So, doing big things, and I'm also still working with youth.
Where Are They Now is brought to you by Aurora Healthcare, the healthcare choice of Marquette Athletics for over 20 years. We're back with head coach Shaka Smart here on Inside Marquette Basketball, and coach, the big Providence win. It's been, some tough finishes for your team as of late on the road, most recently against DePaul, right? The lead at the first half, and then things kind of fell apart there in the second half. You made it close, just not ultimately able to get over the hump. Like you said, getting positive results, right? Forcing the overtime, coming away with the win in overtime. What does that do for the confidence of your players that are working so hard and, like you said, maybe not getting the results all the time?
Yeah, we always say our process leads to our results. And our guys, in terms of our preparation, practice, their willingness to take care of their bodies, do extra, watch film on their own, get together and prepare has been really good. And so when you don't get the results you want, that can wear on guys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what age you are. I mean, that can be hard. And so to win that game late, especially after being down 3 late in the game, to force overtime and then have the composure and the toughness and togetherness to win in overtime, it's really important for our guys. And I think the way we won was important as well, because you had really, young guys out there making plays. NJ, Royce, Demarius, those guys led the way, making plays. And it was kind of an offensive shootout. So there were some, key plays on the defensive end that gave us just enough stops, including at the end. They had the ball and, shot clock was off. And we were able to kind of jar the ball loose, and then, we were able to draw a foul.
It's a big win for your team, and so something that I'm sure you want your young players to continue to build off of, right? Of how that process can lead to those results.
There's no question. I mean, there's no experience, if you really pay attention and you're really aware and alert as a player, that you shouldn't learn from. Wins, losses. If we had ties in basketball, I mean, there's every day, every game, every practice, even watching other games, is such a rich learning opportunity if you grab hold of it. We have a group called the Uncommon Club with a few of us, few players and myself, where we get together on a regular basis, and every day we do something that we deem uncommon. And this morning, Ian Militic, he said he sent a video of several years back, the Seattle Seahawks had a secondary called the Legion of Boom, and it was 10 minutes of those guys talking about each other, talking about what goes into winning, talking about their process, talking about how that came to be. They didn't just show up as the best. And so the development of that, there has to be foundational pieces of that. And you see with some of our young guys, the things that they're doing and the way that they're coming together, you see that happening now.
Are you willing to share who's in the Uncommon Club?
Absolutely. It started off as just Michael Phillips and I.
Okay.
I just recognized in him a special trait of willingness to be different. And for a young guy, he's the youngest guy on our team, not really caring what anyone thinks if he is different, and understanding that, I need to do what I need to do for my development and my growth and to help my team. And I'm not really worried about what anyone thinks about that, or coming across as cool, or being, part of the group. And he gets along great with everyone as well. And so, again, this was back in, I think, late November. We started every day, one of us would suggest an uncommon action of the day.
Okay.
And after doing it for a couple weeks, we got together and we said, hey, should we add anyone? And he said, I really think Sheik, was someone that would benefit from the club and also someone that would add to it. So we added Sheik, and he's been terrific. And it's been really good for him as well to get more connected with Michael. And then this was right before the holidays. We meet on a regular basis, and I asked those guys, is there someone that you want to add or someone that you think would really benefit? And they both said Ian. So Ian Militic was the next member who joined the group, and he's been terrific as well.
I like that. Thank you for sharing that. Maybe along those lines, we talked a little bit about the sophomores with Royce and Demarius. How are you asking them to maybe be uncommon as they continue their development?
Well, I think I mentioned earlier the challenges that can be associated with sophomore year. I think that those two guys have really showed high character, and I also want to point to their parents and their support and alignment with us. As we know, this has not been an easy year for our team or for our players, and the commitment that those guys have shown, their parents have shown, to the process that we've wanted to follow. Demarius especially, he went through a really challenging start of this season, the first 8-10 games or so. And a lot of people don't know this, he didn't have much of an off season. He had surgery, and so he missed most of the off season. And I think in a lot of ways that set him back more so mentally than physically, because he came into the season a little bit tentative and a little bit unsure. He really needed some reps. And with the time that he was able to play early, he took his lumps, he had some tough moments, but he hung in there and he stayed with it. And there was a couple crucial moments, Sophia, off the court where he had to make really self-defining decisions about what he was going to be about, who he was going to align himself with, and what he wanted his future to be. He made the right choice, because he's very high character, as high character as there is on our team. And he cares about winning, and he cares about his teammates. And so that's why it's emotional really for me to see him getting some positive results, because this has not come easily. We've all seen the potential that he has. I think our crowd recognizes it. He played well against Georgetown, in mid-December in our first conference game, and you see the fans react to him like, yes, this is what we want from this guy.
Well, and you are emotional here as you're talking about him, and no one questions how much you pour into your players, how much you care about your players. That's evident right now. So, like you said, to see those positive results, right, and get this runway for Demarius, it's got to be so validating for you and your staff and his teammates as well, let alone for Demarius to feel that himself.
It is, because everyone in our program knows he has potential. He's got to the point earlier this season where he was just tired of hearing that word, because he wants to do it now. He wants to contribute to winning now. And now he is. Every game this season that he's played more than 20 minutes, he's had a very productive game from a scoring standpoint and normally from a rebounding standpoint. So that is show me and I'll play you, and it's exciting.
Inside Marquette Basketball is presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
I'm taking a trip, school wanted to talk to me. Why you want to go down there? Why don't you go see my boy, Al McGuire? I said, that team with the crazy uniforms?
Coached by the legendary Al McGuire.
Man, we have some beautiful uniforms. We got these unis all, man, running out there and the fans going wild. I really like them. That's nice. That's pretty. Wow.
Coach, the uniforms, the Players Edition uniforms now worn twice. Xavier and Providence, by the way, you're 2-0 in these Players Edition uniforms. The great Earl Tatum helping reveal that, along with Chase and Sean and Ben. What do you think of the look and just kind of the inspiration honoring that 1974-75 Marquette team?
I really like the uniforms. They're very sharp. It helps to be 2-0. Coaches and players are superstitious, so it was great that we've been able to win a couple games when we've worn those uniforms. Awesome to have Earl here. I get goosebumps when he comes around. He just has a presence about him. As you know, I really value the history here. The Marquette basketball tradition is special. I value the connection with the former players. Got some texts from some guys after the Providence game. Marcus Howard, Travis Diener, recently exchanged messages with Dwayne Wade on his birthday. So, not only did those guys build the program and make Marquette what it is, but they have a passion and a genuine, care factor for our team now. And so the jerseys are cool because it's a blend of the past and the present. We let our older guys work to, help design the uniforms, and we try to take, some inspiration from former teams.
Inside Marquette Basketball is presented by Pepsi. Thirsty for more. We're back at the Al McGuire Center here catching up with head coach Shaka Smart. And coach, coming off of that overtime win against Providence, now you're hitting the road again. You're going to be playing Butler over the weekend. Hinkle Fieldhouse, always a tough place to play. Just what are the things that you want your team to carry over? You got a couple days now to prepare from that overtime win as you get ready to play Butler.
Well, I think for us it's continuing to lean into our connection around team scores and team stops and what creates those. So on the defensive end, when we're flying around and getting our hands on the basketball, we're just a better team. There's a lot of elements of whether it's defending pick and rolls, whether it's defending off-ball screens, whether it's on-ball one-on-one defense, where we can keep getting better. And I see progress in our guys. At times, we have to be more consistent. On the offensive end, I think the more that we move the ball and get to multiple actions on multiple sides of the floor and create closeouts, that's what makes our guys their best. That's what creates opportunities to get easy baskets around the rim and also open threes and also getting to the foul line. So Butler's got a really good team. For us, it's a chance to go on the road, step forward as a group, and try to build some momentum.
And Coach, after that Butler game over the weekend, you'll return home, Creighton Tuesday night here at home, and you'll be bringing back one of your favorites, former Marquette guard Stevie Mitchell is returning back, and he's going to be recognized as winning the McCahill Award, which is the highest honor that a Marquette student athlete can receive. What can you share with us about Stevie receiving that honor and coming back and spending some time with your team?
Well, he's one of one in terms of energy, players that I've been around. At the top of the list in a few different areas. The best student I've ever coached, by far, the most intelligent, the guy with the brightest future. I think if Stevie wants to, he'll someday run a company that's valued at over $1 billion. And Stevie, for his whole career, he impacted games in so many different ways. Probably my favorite possession of all time, Stevie Mitchell, was we were playing Butler at home. And it was actually not one of his best games, and it was a game that he had a little frustration in, and I had actually subbed him out for a little while, and then I put him back in. It was late in the game, maybe about a minute left. We were up 10 or 12 points, and there was a possession where he literally guarded almost every player on their team. I think he guarded 4 different guys in the possession, but one of them he guarded on 2 different instances within the possession. So he guarded 5 guys in the possession. He just kept switching onto the ball and defending the ball and creating havoc, and that was Stevie. He was just so terrific. And now for him to be honored with the McCahill Award, which is the most prestigious award that you can win. I mean, you look back at the previous award winners, it's a who's who of people, Marquette people. And 2 years in a row in our program, Stevie couldn't be won by a more deserving recipient.
Well, we hope there's more winning ingredients for Stevie Mitchell as he comes back to Marquette on Tuesday, and also for this Marquette team moving forward on the upcoming schedule. Coach, best of luck this weekend. We'll see you soon. That's Inside Marquette Basketball with head coach Shaka Smart.
This has been a presentation from Learfield.